Good evening, everybody. John Martin Mellet here. I hope you're all going well. Today it is Monday, the 16th of August, 2021. Now, on this day, 6 years ago, I entered Serbia for the very first time in my life, and it took me 5 long years to go back for another visit. And I feel really grateful that I did go to Serbia like last year. But anyway, today's topic we're all thinking about on our minds is Afghanistan. Now, you fast forward back 20 years ago, I was like 15 years old, aged, a teenager, in year 9, not happy with life, fucking hating people, telling me off, criticizing me or putting me down. And, when the whole invasion of Afghanistan happened, I thought to myself, well, this is never ever gonna work well for Afghanistan. I mean, Afghanistan had problems for the last 21 years because of the Soviet invasion, the coup, the civil war, the rise of the Taliban, and literally it's like an ongoing saga. But I remember at the time in my life writing an essay why New Zealand should take in Afghan refugees instead of Australia. Basically just said, well, New Zealand just lost a rugby match and they're a smaller island, and these people are fleeing a country that doesn't allow them to use a paper bag or even fly kites. Now, I myself had never really had much of an ambition to ever visit Afghanistan. Okay, because for the last 40 years, Afghanistan has been on the do not travel list. Most Western governments advise people not to go there. But there had always been travellers brave enough to go to Afghanistan, not just to Herat or Mazar-i-Sharif, or even the border town with Tajikistan, the Khorog markets where you can give your passport to the Tajik border guard, go walk across the bridge and go to a border market and buy stuff in Afghanistan without the need of a visa. But there were people brave enough to go to Kabul, and I thought to myself, man, if you go to Kabul and stuff, the chances of coming out alive are really slim to nothing. So, the closest I'd ever been to anywhere in Afghanistan would have to be Tehran, which I went to in 2012. And then, a couple of years later, my mate Jonny Blair from Don't Stop Living, he went to Northern Afghanistan, and he told us all that it was much easier to enter Afghanistan than it was to leave Uzbekistan. Because on the Uzbekistan border, they were like, okay, we're gonna go through your passport, check, gonna go see how much currency you've brought into a country and taken out, check. I'm going to check your computer to make sure you don't have any photographs of bearded men or security things or even pornographic. Check. So when Johnny went to Afghanistan, he had a safe time, never had any issues. There was no Taliban presence in the north, in Mazar-i-Sharif. And he also went to this part of Tajikistan, which looks into Afghanistan. The Khorog, the Pamir Mountains, near the town of Khorog. Beautiful place. Recommend to go anytime, but on his recommendation. So then, the other time I was really close to Afghanistan was in 2017. I was in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, and Almaty, Kazakhstan. And I remember coming back from Bishkek, I was staying at this hostel in Almaty. I met this Iranian woman who lives in Canada, and she told us all, oh, I can't wait to go to Tajikistan because I'll be able to speak Farsi with the locals. And I told her the story. I said, if you want to get Afghanistan in your book but not want to pay a lot of money for a visa, you simply go to the border markets and where you hand over your passport to the border guard and you can spend a couple of hours on Afghanistan soil, but you've got no Afghan markings in your passport. So, for what has happened in the last couple of weeks and months, I kind of think that no Westerner will ever really be able to visit Afghanistan. But I have seen past photographs of people who did visit Afghanistan between 1996 and 2001, and the visa specifically said Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. I thought, man, having that visa in your passport is a rarity thing. It's kind of like, if you went to Iran before the monarchy days, you would say Imperial State of Iran, not Islamic Republic of Iran. Or if you went to Nepal 30 years ago, it's a Kingdom of Nepal, not Republic of Nepal. But the first time I ever met someone from Afghanistan was in Melbourne, 2016. And I was having a really hard time working with the stupid company Pinnacle People, as they were cancelling a lot of my shifts and just screwing around with me. So this one day I went to a job interview at this Buddha restaurant, and the guy working there just had a complete bogan and not give me a chance to sit me down for an interview and talk crap. And I thought to myself, dude, put down your marijuana pipe and start looking at my experiences and give me a job, otherwise I'm going to spend your tax money on rent and pornography. So I walk down the street and I see this restaurant called Kabul Kitchen. I don't think it's there anymore. I went in there and I said, look, I'll have some Afghani bread, which is served round, it was like a pizza they gave me, but basically it was Afghani bread. The second thing I ordered was this meat dish that had grated carrots. And the third thing I remember eating was this really white dessert dish. It was I wouldn't say it was like pudding at all, because I know Persian pudding, saffron pudding, shulazad, but Afghanis have a different thing. It was a white one and a sweet. And I thought to myself, I would never, ever forget eating this food in Melbourne, Australia, because I'd rather eat Middle Eastern food than Italian food, because I have a lot of respect for Middle Eastern people and Italian people. So I moved to London in June 2017, and I was staying at number 8 Seven Sisters, so I would go across the road to a chicken shop. And the owner there, he introduced himself as a really nice old man, I'd say 50s, 60s year old. And he shook my hand. He said, "Oh, where are you from, sir?" I said, "I was born in Australia, but I'm actually a British citizen, and I'm staying permanently in the United Kingdom." And he says, "Oh, welcome. I am from Afghanistan." And my jaw dropped. And I said, "I have had the honour of tasting your food in Melbourne, Australia." And he showed me his national dishes, and we were laughing and smiling. And then, months down the track, I told him I was going to go to Central Asia, and he says, "Have a visit to Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. I spent a couple of years there, but don't go to Afghanistan. It's not safe. Don't go." And I took his word for him, and I never did. And then sadly, he sold the business just at the end of 2017, and then there's a different chicken shop. So I always remember that Afghan chicken seller in Seven Sisters. I always have that guy close to my heart. But there are people who have gone before me, like Monty Malokan, who is a national hero to Armenia. And I had the honour of visiting Monty's grave in Yerevan. And the interesting thing I read about Monty is when he was in Iran during the Revolution 79, he ducked over to Afghanistan. And he got to visit those Buddha statues in 1979, way before the start of the Soviet invasion. And he wrote in his letters to his brother just saying how beautiful they were and how interesting to see Buddha statues in a Muslim nation. So maybe in my lifetime, if peace ever does happen in Afghanistan, I would definitely love to visit Herat. I would love to visit Mazar-e Sharif, and I'd love to visit Kabul. But because of what has happened in the last few months, I literally do not think that any sane or insane Western person would be able to obtain a visa for Afghanistan. And so we have to pray to the people of Afghanistan. We gotta pray that even though there are good and bad people in power and all, you gotta hope that the war basically ends. Even if you have to live under, like, Sharia law and all that stuff. Anyway, this is Martin the Metalhead. I'm over and out.